Hello and welcome back to the roads of Elden Ring. Today we are going to have a look at a fairly small sub-area, which is the Ellac River over here. We're starting from the Ellac Cave, then we first go north underneath this big bridge, see what's up over here, and then after that we will go downstream and see what's going on there. This area over here that we can see on the map here will be our last area, and we will end the episode over somewhere over here, I think. Looking from the map, it's very would you think that if you're standing under here, we're currently in a cave, as the map also says, Ellac River Cave, would you think that if you would go somewhere down here, like, is it even possible to go down here, or is it a dead end? Then would you think that you would come out over here? Some would say, well, of course, because, well, you see there's this river part, and then like it vanishes, and you see the river part over here. It would be kind of nice maybe to see the river through here as well. That would be kind of cool. It's not that visible. There could be anything underneath this part, really. But yeah, enough talking about the map. Let's start. And let's see what weather we got. Holy shit. That got dark very quickly. About those smooth transitions. This wasn't that smooth. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Ooh, it's bright. When you're in the cave, it's very, very bright. Once you go outside, though, it's getting darker. Ooh, spooky. Thanks, October. But yeah, let's start off with morning. Very well, very nice. Let's see what this river has to offer. The first thing that I always notice, or that I noticed, is that this river is very stale. Like, the water is not moving here, which is strange, right? You would expect a river like this, especially with a big waterfall here, to be a bit more active. But it's not. It's stagnant water, and you know what stagnant water means, right? It's death, basically. It means death. Death, decay, and all that good stuff. And how is that reflected in Elden Ring? Well, it's reflected by rats, and where's my favorite enemy in the game? I think, yeah, later on we will see a bunch of flies, and of course it's raining now. There is no episode without rain. That's fine, I mean, everything is watery as well. And we get a mini-boss as well. I now turned blue again. What the fuck is going on here? Luckily don't have to fight the ulcerated tree spirit over there. But of course they have no new enemy. But let's see. Looking from up here, we can see a bunch of distractions. Or obstructions, whatever. It's not a smooth riverbed, it's very rocky. There are a few islands here and there. And it's reflected here as well. And I wonder why they specifically have these very sharp rock formations over here. They always had these, especially in Liurnia, right? If we go back to Liurnia. Comparing these cliffs to the cliffs of Liurnia, we can see it looks very similar. So they've used a fairly similar structural approach, even though they could have done anything. or everything really, because well, it's a new area, right? We're in the Shadowlands. Who says the Shadowlands need to look like the lands between? Could have been something entirely different. But nature says it's basically almost the exact same thing. But so far there's nothing new here. And there are also no interesting items so far. I mean, there's this one item over here. Let's see what it is. Hooray. Runes. And then the tree spirit. But so far, nothing really. Right now we went underneath the bridge. And there's not that much ahead of us. Now of course the flies start to appear. And why is that? Because we're getting close to the abandoned ailing village over here, where the fly people originated from. And the water is stagnant, like there's no flowing water here. Let's see what we have in this crevice over here. Fly mold. I think I've never picked this up once. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I've missed some kind of cave here that is a complete new dungeon. But sadly there's nothing like this over here, at least. In a short while we will encounter an area, or we will encounter a dungeon area. And yeah, here it is. Like the corpses piling that have been dropped down from, if you remember from the abandoned ailing village here, there's this wooden platform up here, where you could easily throw down these corpses, and that's exactly what they did here. Just a pile of dead bodies, and of course stagnant water, even though we have some water flow through the waterfalls. But apparently that's not enough, because there's, looking at the water, there's almost no movement. I honestly would have appreciated a more rapidly flowing river with more noise, because right now it's like you can hear the waterfall in the background fairly faintly. But other than that, there is no sound, which is somewhat unfortunate. They really like to create these areas that are unappealing, which is in certain situations is understandable, but when you have something like this river, I don't know, it feels extremely tainted. And I mean, I guess it is extremely tainted by all the death that surrounds it. But I don't know, I would like to see something more beautiful. But we're coming to that at some point in this playthrough. But later on, not today though, but in other videos we will explore more parts of the Ellac River, specifically these up here, and we can possibly see the spring, or spring, is it called a spring? Where the water originates from. So maybe that sheds some light on what has happened to this river. Or maybe not. We will see. Here we luckily have a somewhat beautiful cave behind the waterfall, illuminated by these honestly very cute things. You can't tell me that this isn't cute. They look silly. and kind of disturbing at the same time, but with these small hands, they're like they remind me of worms or something that you would find on beaches, just as a ghostly apparition. And remember, like these have the same colors, red for aggressive, blue for passive, as the jellyfish. So these are probably the jellyfish equivalent from the Shadowlands. Here we are getting the two-headed turtle talisman, which increases stamina recovery just slightly, just a bit more than the regular turtle talisman, whatever. Turtles are known as a nutritious ingredient symbolic of inexhaustible power. Two-headed turtles are a favorite subject in the lands of the tower due to the spiral shape of their intertwined necks. Understandable. They really like the spiral shapes, as we have found in, well, the architecture of certain areas, or of certain structures. Almost in every structure there's some kind of spiral built in. If it's just a picture, or if it's the structure itself that looks like a spiral. But well, of course I like the turtle because you can twist the necks and then it's a spiral. Hooray! Kinda gruesome. But look at all of these aggressive rock formations spiking into the sky. Looks kinda surreal. I wonder if there's a real place that looks similar to this, or... well, I haven't seen it. And then over here we have the cave that I briefly mentioned earlier. Let's quickly go inside. Activate the Site of Grace and mark it as unexplored. At some point I'm going to do what are these, cave exploration or dungeon exploration episodes where we'll have a look at different caves. Probably like 2 or 3 at the same time, maybe 2 just so that I can talk about the different ones. Yeah, this episode is going to be a bit shorter. Definitely. So let's see. What have we seen so far? And that looks so interesting. They could have done... I'm getting kind of mad now. Because I know what they could have done. And I know what I would like to see. Remember the... let's see, where is it? Nope, wrong button again. Remember this area over here, like the cave area here, that you can reach by going from the water part in here, where you have the Albinoric village. I would like to see in the Shadowlands, or would have liked to see something in the Shadowlands, something similar, just in a grander scheme. And man, that looks nice. That looks nice from here. I'm already wondering what kind of thumbnail I'm going to do for this video. For this episode. But there's really not much to do here. Like, we have rats, we have... in this part we have flies, and then we had a tree spirit and a crab. I guess the tree spirit has to re-emerge. Whatever. Man, these trees from afar look so bizarre. They look like snow-covered, but they're not. Because the sun is so bright. I also would like to see a bit more color here. Like we have these awesome looking rock formations. And then the water here, but... I mean, it fits the design of Elden Ring, of course, but... with a different color grading, you could make this area look more appealing. And the fog is coming again. Ugh. Does it look appealing to you? That's what I would like to ask. Because to me it's not really, it looks very dirty. Or washed out. Something is wrong with the color here. Or maybe it's because of the veil and the way the light hits this area, but it looks very... yeah, it looks washed out and dead. But I guess that's what they're going for. But now we have a more adventurous looking area. We have this waterfall, of course. And then we have these honestly very strangely formed rock formations that are like pillars that we can jump on. And jump on we will. I wonder, you can probably do this without torrent. Should be designed so you can do this without torrent. Because, well, you can summon torrent for these. But I don't know. More often than not, I find navigation, especially jumping with torrent, is very adventurous. Because sometimes he still moves when you want him to stand still, and some... I don't know. Or not? The more you know. Now I've fallen down. Let's redo that part. Let's redo that part. And while we're at it, it's getting a bit too... It says early day, but... what is early day supposed to mean? Like on the dial, you see it's almost dawning. It's like the red. For me, that's not early, that's mid to late day. Now we have a terrible weather again. What else? Okay, I guess you almost have to use torrent. You can probably do this jump without torrent. I just failed miserably. You know what? I don't care. That's what I mean. That's what I fucking mean. Well, eventually you will end up here. You're jumping down these rock formations, and let me quickly heal torrent here. Let's see, can you jump these rock formations back up? Doesn't look like you can reach these parts, no. It's the one-way ticket down the stream. But now it's a bit more louder when we're at these waterfalls. Can already see a friend down there. Ugh. But well, we jump down the river now, and we are almost underneath the rock formations. So when we look up, yep, it's a cave. And somehow it's still raining here. Let's see if it's raining in there as well. But you jump down these rock formations, and then what? You would expect, I would expect, some kind of fun little secret. We're getting a few flies here and there. Hooray. We all like fighting flies, don't we? And we're at the waterfall part. We go against and we see there's nothing behind. No secret area. Unfortunate. And now, especially at this point, where it should stop raining, where these birds start to appear, and where we clearly have man-made objects down here. Like, these have been built deliberately, right? Maybe for the birds to stand on top or whatnot. There were definitely people here, but then you would expect some kind of bridge or ladder that leads you up and down these waterfalls, because there's no way going back here. But maybe that's their vision. Maybe that's the story that's being told here. Now we finally are in the cave. Some smithing stones, and of course some of these birds are aggressive and no statues. But now this is the part where I wish they created a city, a grand city in the rock, similar to Nokron, just cooler than Nokron. Because they have done it, but they haven't done it in a way that I wish they would have. Because it would fit perfectly, right? At least for me, like they have the Gravebird aesthetic here, of all of the like the dead stuff. The Gravebirds is the dead faction, and they could have done a almost like, just imagine having a dark, ginormous cave like this. Just even bigger. And then it's extremely dark down there, similar to certain areas that we will explore at some point in the series. Can already spoil it, there is a specific catacomb area, not this one, but something down here where it's extremely dark. Where actually is it? Here it should be something, I think, where it's extremely dark. But imagine this in that cave, and then it's only being illuminated by the ghost flames. Then you maybe have a graveyard there, a chapel, and then like your town, right? Your town of the dead. Maybe you fight ghosts and apparitions down there, whatever. Would be kind of cool to explore. And then maybe it leads into a catacomb, mini dungeon, whatever. There's so many cool concepts they could have explored. But whatever, I'm daydreaming here. Let's see what we have down here, because we've seen a friend. Our friendly little shellfish. Crustacean. With red eyes. Let's see what he's protecting. Oh. Upgrade material. Hooray. So far, this is a really unappealing area. It looks gray, almost. The colors are muted. There's no interesting color scheme. The water's stagnant, which means it's death. It grabs the attention of the fly people and of rats and the ulcerated tree spirit, apparently. Nothing really appealing about this area. But hopefully soon enough there will be beauty again. Because so far I'm not a fan of this kind of stagnant water they've created here. Let's see, is there something behind this waterfall again? No. How unfortunate. There's one small item here. Don't even know why they've bothered. Thin beast bones, they're animals here, you can easily grab them from these animals as well. Finally, another site of grace after dropping down 2 areas where we can't get up again. Right, one was here, point of no return, then there was another point of no return. Now we are at the Ellac River downstream area that is still depicted as over here, which is underground, which is kind of hard to see, unfortunately enough. There, for some reason, they have created this gap. I haven't tested it out, but could you see this, the Ellac River from here? I don't know if you can. But we have a ghost here. I was once told a coffin could convey its passenger upon a gentle cruise to the velvet garden of deepest purple. Oh, to slumber in such paradise. In such a paradise. Right. Hinting at this area over here that we could have seen, or we could see from up here, for example. We could see the red and the blue area. And well, this ghost is hinting at the good old thing. Go into a coffin and you end up downstream or something. If you remember, like, they've done this like 2 or 3 times already. Where the player jumps into a coffin. I mean, not even 3 times, like, they started in Dark Souls 1 with that. Or did they already do that in Demon Souls? I don't know. But in Dark Souls they had the same thing. Go into a coffin and you're being transported into another area. They did this in the Dark Souls 2, the Ice DLC. Go into this coffin and all of a sudden you're in the reindeer hell. And so on. Like in this game alone they've done it a few more times. But finally we are in a more suitable area, and here we can see, if we have a look at the river here, it feels slow, but it's slowly moving. I have no comparison to the river part up there, but I feel like it felt like this river part is slower, flowing slower than this part. This, I'm probably wrong, but this feels more alive. Could be an illusion, because they probably just have 2 different types of water, right? The water that looks like this, just slowly flowing, and then these rapids. Well, we will see. But of course we have to drop down again, so let's do that. Drop down, drop down, drop down. There shouldn't be anything useful here. Well, I take that back. What we can do, if we drop down one further here and get to this part, we can already see another pot hanging there that we can shoot down with bow and arrow, and then grab the contents, the bell bearing that is inside from down there. But of course this beautiful area has to be disturbed by this furnace golem. So let's have a look at the river. It feels quicker, but it's probably not. I'm comparing these at the end of the episode. I'm comparing the water strength here and up there. Well, not strength, but speed. Because this feels quicker. Could be wrong though. But we're almost out of the cave, I guess. We're still not out of it. But here we have nature. Here we have goats, and let's see what else there is. Rain. We have rain. But we have this seemingly uninteresting area over here with just these goats, but there's something significant up here, I think. Not up here. Somewhere in this corner there's another forager brood. Oh, over there, right. Here we have another forager brood that gives us something, and then a cookbook. I already have all the cookbooks, so we're not getting this twice. But always useful to grab these cookbooks. And then, where the lightning strikes and the goat rolls in circles. Excuse me. Sometimes this goat dies because it still takes lightning damage from the random hitting lightning. And Torrent is dead again. But here we get the lightning perfume bottle, which is sadly still one of the worst weapon types. Perfume bottles, but how unfortunate. Look how different the water looks, like with this beautiful, somewhat beautiful blue water, and then this brown puddle of shit where all the goats shit in. At least with yellow fulgur bloom. Then luckily, in this water, and I say luckily because this should make you wet. When you roll in water, this should make you wet, and that can be beneficial when fighting the furnace golem over here. Because, well, when you're wet, you take less fire damage, right? And I wonder if this works. Where's my fire resistance? 6-3. I don't know if I'm affected by that. 6-7. It worked. So when you roll in water, your fire resistance is higher, which is nice. Be careful, lightning resistance is lower. Then what is more interesting, we are closer to this mountain thingy here. And from here we can see this enormous dead dragon. And they framed this, of course, on purpose like that. Like that you have this almost... Well, it's framed very well, right? Please ignore the texture glitches in the dragon's wing over there in the dragon's body, but here we can see almost the entire dragon, right? With the... Let's see. There we have the head, then the empty chest cavity where the heart once was. Of course, when you find a dead dragon, you have to cut out its heart and eat it to become stronger. Then the wings, and look how enormous that one is. Probably the largest dragon in the game, not probably, this is the largest dragon in the game. Deep down there is an area that we will only... Well, technically this area we will never encounter, because there's this building in the way. But it's part of this large area here, so I guess it counts. But then we also have this part of the blue area that is underneath the dragon wing. But then also this weird finger there. So this is a small teaser on what this is. And on the map, holy shit, it looks so cool on the map, especially with these blue unnatural specks. So one should really get hyped for this area, right? I hope it's not disappointing. Oh boy, foreshadowing. But now let's see where this path leads us to. Of course, it leads us to the, in my opinion, second most beautiful area of the entire DLC. Second most because down here it's very blue, but up here it's blue and red, and I think this part of the area, like the red part with the red flowers, looks even better, but this looks nice. Can't wait to explore this part. Technically I can wait. But yeah, let's see. I wanted to compare the water flow, the speed of the water, because now it's foggy really, because to me this looks quicker, but I guess it's because, nah, it should be the same. Oh, maybe. Has a certain speed. Let's go up to the Ellac River cave and let's see how this water flows, if it flows at all. Looking at the water here, I mean, it is flowing. But it still looks so slow. Let's see. Is it flowing? If it's flowing, then... ah, here we go. Oh, it's flowing in two directions. Is it not? Okay, that's a good idea. If we look directly down, we can see it's flowing in two directions. Here as well. That's an interesting concept. Not really a concept, or an interesting trick, I should say. Because if it gives the water movement without movement, but there's certainly a difference. If there's no difference, then it just they've made it so that it's, I don't know. But let's compare it to this one. I want to know, like, this looks definitely faster, but it's also easier to see because of the light reflections. Let's see if we... Nope, it's flowing in one direction. Oh no, it's flowing... Ah, see, there is the trick. Here we have two movements. One goes in this direction. We have a look. Like one layer, let's call it layer, flows in the direction downstream, of course. And then the other layer flows like parallel to it, to the side. Which makes it, first of all, it gives, like, I don't know if this is how they achieve the wave pattern, but, or the flow pattern, whatever, doesn't matter. But it makes it look very quick. And now if we go up here to this area back again, it's raining again, of course it is. And we look down. It's flowing in two different directions, and it's also slower. Is it being slowed down? I can't. I need a side-by-side comparison. You can do it better than I, but here it's definitely one part of the layer flows downstream, but the other part, instead of flowing in a neutral direction, which means like, is it perpendicular to it? I think it's flowing in the opposite direction, which makes it look slower, if this is how it works. But yeah, this is definitely not flowing that much. And yeah, if we have a look at the waves from a side, I think this is a good angle. We can even see the water flowing in two different directions here. This is strange. But it's definitely slow up here, which resembles death, and well, it depends on the river, but this is mostly a very flat area, right? If you have flat from left to right, or a very flat area, then of course the water is not going to flow as quickly as if it's literally going downstream, if it's sloped. But of course, because due to the waterfalls, because water's coming in from here, and you have a water surplus over this area, and then you have a water deficit in this area because there's another waterfall taking away water, then it's slowly flowing in one direction, which makes sense, right? But it definitely picks up pace down here, and it's also a very interesting visual detail where in the area where there is more nature and less dead nature, like here, we have a few trees left and right, but where was the dead bush? Should be over there, right? There's not really that much nature going on here. We have a few dead trees and a few life forms are growing here, with mostly death, specifically or especially around the abandoned ailing village, where we have the heap of corpses being thrown down into the river. I wonder why they haven't made this water down here then not more waxy. Because if you remember, in the underground area, right here, this water was white, very waxy, white, and I guess also purple, but the white part, apparently, I think, is it corpse wax, or is it, it's almost soap-like, right? Or is it not just almost, before I'm talking out of my ass here, you might wanna have a look at like articles of corpse wax, because that's a real thing, not just a game thing. But it's a nice visual storytelling that we have here, that in the more alive looking area, where we actually have animals other than these fly dudes and stuff, the water is actually flowing quicker, or flowing at all. And then in the more dead area, where there's a bunch of death surrounding it, the water is once again stagnant, which has a Japanese folklore or mysticism, like the Japanese magic lore, so to speak, surrounding it, if you want to call it that. It's a Japanese, or it's maybe an Asian even concept. Stagnant water equals death or something, right? Because you're not flowing, you're not going anywhere. Death is stagnant. But yeah, that's today's episode. I hope you had fun, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good one. Goodbye.